did was in drama class at the Little Theater in Woodstock when I was growing up. That would be in the early 60s. I went to UVM, got a degree in theater, wasn't expecting to, ended up doing children's theater in Summerstock, and through Summerstock in the White Mountains, I ended up going to grad school, UNC Chapel Hill, getting a master's in acting. Then I went to New York, something I never intended to do. Was always too scared to go to New York, and was there for 10 years and did regional theater, lots of it. Spent most of my time out of the city, actually. And then I just got burned out, and I always wanted to come back to Vermont, so I came back to Vermont. You know, when I left New York, I was ready to leave New York, and I really did not. I thought, if I'm coming back to Vermont, I'm obviously not going to continue my career as an actor. So I was ready to give it up, and pleasantly surprised when I got here. I mean, I knew that there were arts. I knew that there was, Lebanon Opera House and Pentangle and Hopkins Center. But I was pleasantly surprised to be able to still do it on a small scale. I mean, I did the love letters at Pentangle with Jill, my friend Jill Larson, as a fundraiser, and I've done some readings at the Public Library in Woodstock, and I've done some readings here, and I taught an acting class, and so it's out there, and it's a wonderful arts community. I mean, even Windsor, I had no intention of moving to Windsor. I sort of followed some friends here, and now that I'm here, I'm sitting in this house and reading these poems, and St. Gaudens. I never went to St. Gaudens when I was in Woodstock, but here it is, and it's the arts are alive and well. This is something that Bert wrote about her father and his brothers, which I thought was wonderful. When Edward, Max, and Charlie Perkins were perhaps 8, 7, and 6 years old, they were very lively and totally beyond their mother's ability to control them. They were considered so wild that the neighbors in Windsor didn't want their boys to play with them. As a solution, their cousin, Jerome Green, was engaged for several summers to look after them. He was a college student. It was a great success. He roamed all over Windsor and Cornish with them, taught them to play tennis, baseball, and kick the ball, told them stories, and sang college songs. He made those summers so wonderful that our father, Max, relived them with his daughters years later. He told us many stories about cousin Jerome, who became a mythical hero to us. Bert and Peggy both remember the shock they felt when our father wrote in a letter that he had seen Jerome. It was as if he had said, "I ran into Achilles at the Harvard Club yesterday," or Sir Lancelot, or D'Artagnan. Here's another letter, a short one. Saturday, September 6th, 1919. Darling Berta, I've just been for a walk with a lady, but she had on a skirt so tight she could hardly take a step. I had to keep waiting for her. I hope you won't wear such skirts when you are a lady. I told her you were a great walker and had climbed Mount Ascutney 3,000 feet high, and I thought no child so young had ever done it. She was a nice lady, though. The skirt, she said, was the fault of the dressmaker. This is the way we went up Mount Ascutney. Old Mother Ascutney, isn't it? Love, Daddy. And he draws these wonderful sketches along with every letter that he writes. Segment from July 19th, 1926. Berta Darling. He's talking about traveling on the train. We talked about various manuscripts this afternoon, and there was one about bridges. It had almost every bridge you could think of, from that notorious one Caesar built across the Rhine to the Queensborough Bridge, but not the Windsor Bridge, and so I knew it was a poor book, and I declined it. Berta, September 2nd, 1919. This must be a very short letter because I must go to see Bopa. Bopa was the girl's grandfather. I only wanted to tell you how proud I was of you when you wanted to go with us to the train, and as soon as I whispered it would not be fair to E and Peg to take only you, you stopped asking right away. Then I was very proud of you, darling. I would rather have you just and fair than win prizes in school. My, New York's a horrid place after Windsor. It's cloudy and stuffy and smelly and noisy and rainy. Your Daddy. Remember when when I lived in New York and I would come home to Vermont for vacation, and I would come up through Hartford, 95, 91, and when I got to Brattleboro, there was that beautiful, huge farm on the left, which I think is now the Vermont Land Trust owns it. But I would get there and everything would open up and I could literally feel my shoulders just drop. And now that I live here and on weekends you see people heading back to the city, thinking, oh, lucky me. I can go to New York and visit, but I get to come back here and live.